So one of the big questions that we get to is what do we need to know about the infrastructure of hospitals when we're thinking about object storage at hospitals? What do we need to know?
Complicated, man. Definitely complex, vast, big. Do you know what I mean? Lots and lots of legacy environments, legacy applications, legacy systems, disparate systems, things that don't talk to each other. Huge, I would say.
And in my conversations, because we all know we do a lot of work in healthcare, we do a lot of work in object storage, so it's natural for us to try and connect the things. But in the conversations we have, where a lot of our work in healthcare is specifically around medical imaging, and a lot of medical imaging applications are, they've been around a while, right? We might call them legacy applications. They're monolithic applications. They were originally built to work with file services and things like that. So right now, today, in the medical imaging space, there's not a huge amount of use for object storage with medical imaging, which is really interesting, because if you think about when we've spoken before about use cases for object storage, image files is the classic use case. So it's one of those, it's an obvious thing that you should be using object in hospitals around medical imaging, but they're not quite there yet. So that's definitely a thing I see around existing. I mean, I guess that's getting into applications that rather than just infrastructure.
That kind of gets me into the next bit, unless you want to touch on.
Well, I was going to say that if you think as well, I mean, part of the reason that potentially hospitals are still using traditional file platforms is because typically they're quite slow to move. They're quite slow, and it's not because they don't want to move. It's just because it's really complicated to move, because everything's so disparate in different departments and everyone's doing different things and different applications. It's difficult to shift on. So, and that lack of adoption at speed means that they're still sitting on file platforms where there are better options such as object storage, and we're starting to see that change.
And they're quite risk averse, because it is literally life and death.
Well, and that's it.
Literally life and death. Yeah. So you don't want to be going first, going fastest, just trying out new stuff and hoping for the best. They want technologies to be really mature, really stable. They need a very, very well thought through and structured plan to move from where they are today to what the future might look like, because I've said it 3 or 4 times
and that
already.
leans into the complexity, because equally those applications, those services that are being delivered will be complex, because they, unlike many other organizations, have been thinking about resilience and high availability and this sort of stuff from day one. So a lot of their older legacy applications, those monolithic kind of stacks of IT, are already highly available, resilient, and bits and pieces like that, but not necessarily using the latest and greatest technologies to achieve it.